Hello and welcome. You join us on the A683 heading towards Caton, and we're just coming into the village itself where there's a crossroads and a mini roundabout. If we were to go right, we would head off towards the Trough of Bowland, but we're going to carry straight along the A683 towards Hornby, and eventually we're going to end up in Kirkby Lonsdale. And this, if you look at the Ordnance Survey map, you will see it's a green road, which means it's a trunk route, and it's the main route out from Lancaster, eventually going towards Leeds, York and the East Coast. There are many other ways, of course, of getting out that way along much smaller roads, but today we're going to take this, and here's our mini roundabout. So a right turn would take us up onto the Trough of Bowland, but we're carrying straight on, and in a very short distance we're going to pass over Beck, a little river, and that leads into the Lune. This is the Lune Valley, and the Lune itself is over on the left hand side, and there are lots of meanderings of the Lune at this point, which, if my geography, which was very poorly taught at my school, serves well, as a favourite road for motorcyclists along here, and you'll see why later on. It's because there are lots of twisty bits, and those twisty bits are fairly obvious, which means that some of them travel at rather high speeds around them. We won't be doing that, of course. And over on the left hand side is a small caravan site called a CL, or certified location, which I have actually stayed in many years ago. On the left hand side is a dismantled railway line, and that railway line formed part of what was called the Green Air Line, which was a very early overhead catenary electrified line from Leeds to Morecambe. Now dismantled. Unfortunately, it doesn't run all the way to Hornby. It's been turned into a cycle and footpath, but it stops well before it gets to Hornby, which is a great pity. It's been sold to farmers on the way. But on the left hand side, you will, if you keep your eyes open, notice that someone who owns, probably it was a station cottage, but it's also now a refurbished signal box, and that's on the left hand side. Over on the right hand side is a picnic area called Bullbeck, which is a favourite place for motorcyclists to have a bacon butty and others. And I think we're coming up fairly soon to spot that signal box. I'll try and see it as we pass by. I did notice it on the right, so I'll keep quiet for a moment and just keep my eyes peeled, as I'm sure you are too. There it is on the left. Right, moving on then. Fairly soon we'll be coming to an aerial ropeway, and this is for a brickworks. Upon Cloughton Moor there's a clay pit, and the clay is taken from that pit across the road to the brickworks on the left. It may be pronounced Clawton, of course, but I think it's Cloughton, because there is a a moor up over there called Cluffer. Nothing to do with Brian Clough, the football manager from the 60s and 70s. And this road eventually leads to a junction where it branches off to the left, becomes a red road, but still called the A683. And there's the aerial ropeway, and there's brickworks. And it comes up to a junction, and eventually we will turn left, but if we were to go right, that would take us over to Halls. Now there are other ways of getting to Halls, much nicer routes I think, because as you know I don't ride on these sort of roads for preference, but this was just an experiment to see what it was like. Now at this time of the morning, which is a Sunday morning, and if we're talking GMT it would be 6:30, but we're not, we're in British summertime now, it's 7:30, and it's not that busy, but it does get busier during the day. And we're going to be stopping this particular section of the ride, which is around about 10 minutes long, at the bridge at Hornby, and that bridge goes over the River Wenning, which is another one that leads into the Loon. We should also pass under the railway which is still in existence, and that runs from Lancaster through Carnforth over to Skipton and Leeds. Junction here would take us over to Ray and Wennington on fairly narrow roads. That would be the B6480, and very soon we'll be coming up to Hornby itself, and if you keep your eyes open you will see the top of Hornby Castle. Which I think you can now see. Not obvious, but there it is, right in the centre there. And we'll come up to the junction. Well, it's not a junction, it's just a left-hander. Just across there is the village post office, which used to do teas. I don't know if they still do, probably during the summer they do. And we're just going to come up to the bridge where the River Wenning passes beneath, and we're going to stop there and have a bit of a break. And I imagine you'd like to as well. So thank you for watching, and we'll catch up with you another time.